Look at the scene earlier today over at the state capitol. Students and activists marched there from Sacramento City College. The protest was peaceful. The group says they're fighting for justice in honor of Stephon Clark. And demonstrators have planned another gathering in front of the Sacramento Police Department where they're pushing for new legislation. Let's bring in CBS13's political analyst Gary Dietrich to dig into this and a couple other topics tonight, Gary. So we're talking about two competing law enforcement bills rolling through the Capitol. How do you see this playing out, and obviously the implication for law enforcement?
Well, it's a really big deal, guys. And Stephon Clark's death has actually what spurred this on, because there are now two major bills in the California legislature that would change the threshold upon which law enforcement could be criminally charged. That's a really big deal. And these bills, guys, have implications statewide. They were birthed right here in Sacramento. They're both carried by Democrats, and they really are getting a lot of scrutiny about how they could impact law enforcement all over California.
All right, let's talk 2020 census. It just got hyper political. We're going to let you explain why here. But does this now set the stage for what is typically a mundane process to become more of a political football, if you will, in the race for president?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, people think it's boring. I got to count people around the country. But you know what? This is a really important deal. The number of people that end up in a state or even a congressional district determines federal funding and a whole host of other things. And what happened was the Trump desire to have a citizenship question on the census has been thrown out, at least for now, by the courts, and that could have a lot of implications for the number of people that get counted, some say, in California.
We've got to talk about the race for the White House. We need some playing cards.
Is there a race for the White House already going on?
You might be running and not even know about it. So you got U.S.
I better check it.
You got U.S.
Breaking
senators,
news right here at 6.
No doubt. And then a whole bunch of governors, including a Mr. Hickenlooper from Colorado. Is this kind
Don't forget that name, Hickenlooper.
Yeah, right.
Can't forget
Is
that.
this kind of shaping up to be kind of a D.C. versus the rest of the U.S.?
Well, we saw a whole batch of U.S. senators get in, right? And so now they're all in. Now it's time for the governors. Hickenlooper, Governor Inslee from Washington, who's currently the head of the Democratic governors. All these guys are jumping in, and it really is, Tony, shaping up as the governors are going to say, hey, we know how to run things, especially out here in the West. We know how to be an executive. These senators like to talk, but they're not going to do much. So it is going to be a really interesting race. And now that we have 3, maybe 4 governors jumping in to what already is kind of, you think, a crowded contest?
Very
By the
crowded
way,
field.
the name Hickenlooper, it means one who leaps over hedges. I looked it up when I worked in Denver, and he was the mayor of Denver.
So he's going to leap over
Thank you,
hedges
Google.
in Washington, D.C. and get things done. He likes to describe himself as a skinny kid that had Coke bottle glasses who knew how to stand up to bullies.
Yeah.
A veiled reference to, I don't know who that might be.
Well, stay tuned, as they say.
Yes. All right, Gary, thanks so much for your time. We'll see you soon.